Mariners. Mariners Podcast. Midtown Mariners Podcast.
I like the crazy stuff. Yeah.
Well, I like the hard number.
Enjoyable for everybody.
It's very exciting.
Very unique. To me, it was the best thing ever.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Vintown Mariners podcast. I am Vintown. I am here with my 2025 Mariners predictions. Is it too early for Mariners predictions? Absolutely. But the sooner you get them out there, the sooner you can be proven wrong, the sooner everyone can be mad at you, the sooner everyone can dunk on you. And that's what I'm here for, to be dunked on, because I love to be dunked on. Call me that one French guy that Kobe dunked on. Yeah, anyway, I got my Mariners 2025 predictions. Because why wait? Why wait when you're absolutely correct? Why wait when you know it's going to happen? Why wait? But yeah, I have 24 predictions here for you today, and I decided to make it a little fun because we're going to do prediction bingo. That's right. I've got 24. I'm going to follow these all season if I remember, and I'm going to black this prediction bingo board out. It's going to be a perfect X, a perfect blackout. Everything I'm going to predict is correct. And that's that. Let's start. Let's get it started. Let's start at the beginning with what I'm calling the Julio row. The top row of my predictions is all Julio Rodriguez related. And my top prediction, or my first prediction for Julio Rodriguez, 40 home runs this year. 40 home runs. Career high, 32. Zips projections have him around 27. Other projection systems have him as high as 30. But no one's seeing that kind of power breakout for him. But I do see it. I think that's been in him all this time. And he's just had slow starts the last 2 seasons, which have stopped him from getting there. But I think this is the year he's really going to put it all together, mostly because he has to. But I do think that he's going to put it all together. He's going to put up some numbers. You know, a lot of people talk about how Julio is the key to the team. Like, if Julio plays great, they'll play great. And that's true. But I don't think they can really put in their head, like, what playing great means, because we haven't really seen a real superstar level player play, like, truly great in a long time. And I think people are going to be surprised at the big numbers that Julio puts up this year. The second part, or my second prediction, the second part of this, though, because they're kind of go together. Julio's also going to steal 40 bases. Julio's going 40-40 this year. For one, it's very easy to steal bases. People do it all the time. Julio's career high, 37 in 2023. Injuries and such kept him down to 24 last year. But, a full season, the green light, and just like getting a lot of hits, being on base a lot. I think Julio is going to have a great season, and he's going to be 40-40. And if he's 40-40, that brings me to my next prediction. Julio Rodriguez will finish in the top 3 of MVP voting. Why is this important? It's his contract. High finishes in the voting gets him unlocks the bigger contract. This is the year he does it. So that's what I think. He's going to be top 3. I think about this too is the American League just got a whole lot easier for Julio, with Juan Soto going to the National League, Ohtani's in the National League. All the big hitters who were ahead of him, a lot of them are leaving. Judge is getting older. I'm not as scared of Judge. He will be probably the top contender, though. But Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson, those guys aren't going away. It won't be easy, but I think a 40-40 season, a good year for the Mariners, and I think Julio's going to be right there in the top 3. Julio's also going to win the Gold Glove. I think as long as he plays a full season in center field, he's a shoo-in for this award. Last year, he didn't play a full season, so he wasn't. But if he plays a full season, he's an MVP, period. Did I say MVP? Because I meant Gold Glove, but here's my final prediction. Julio Rodriguez, 2025 American League MVP. You know, if he does the 40-40, if he hits above 300, if he's Gold Glove caliber, there's not going to be many players ahead of him. Because like I said, there are contenders, but I think the Mariners have the right combination of being a good enough team and just like him being so singular and so uniquely valuable to them on both sides of the ball or whatever, however you want to say that. Do you say that in baseball? Not really, but I wonder what the term is. Like that would work in football, like both sides of the ball, but like does it work in baseball? I don't know. But yeah, I think he's like going to be the top defensive center fielder in baseball, and he's going to be one of the top hitters in baseball. And if that's the case, that's an MVP. That's who he is. So that's my Julio predictions. 40-40 with a Gold Glove and the MVP. Is top 3 MVP, is that hedging a little? Sure. But top 3 is probably the most important to him contract wise. Anyway, not my money. So let's move on to my second row of predictions. These top 2 rows, by the way, are more positive, more everything's awesome. I got the negative stuff's coming later. But I think the Mariners are gonna have 3 or more All-Stars this year. The thing that's cost them the last couple seasons is like the slow starts. But I think, you know, Julio getting off to a hot start, Cal, people aren't going to overlook him anymore after last year with the Gold Glove, with the Platinum Glove. But people aren't going to overlook him anymore. He's going to be in the mix. He's like arrived. Julio's arrived, and then you just have all these pitchers, not just the starters, but Munoz, Brash, who are going to be like some of the best relievers in the league. Like, I almost said 4 here, but, it's rare for a team to get 4. It's gonna be at least 3, though. 3 All-Stars. Lock it in. Speaking of Cal wins the Gold Glove and the Silver Slugger. He was robbed of this last season. Say what you want about Salvador Perez. He was not a catcher. He's not a full-time catcher. Cal Raleigh logged more innings back there than anybody. He was the Platinum Glove, and he hit the hell of the ball. I mean, I think he needs a little bit more batting average to get there. But another 30 plus home run season. He's the guy. I think he's gonna do both this year. That's it. I love Cal. This one is all for all the haters and the losers out there. The Mariners will trade for an impact bat. I think that they wanted to. They really did. They wanted to this whole offseason, and it wasn't there because everyone thinks they're gonna compete. If you look at the projected standings, so many teams are between that 80 to 86 win projection in the American League and in the middle of the National League. It's like so many teams think that they have playoff hopes. So they don't want to trade their bats. They don't want to give up their bats. But once they realize that they're not on that level, they're going to be looking. They're going to be looking for the rebuild. They're going to be looking for whatever, get off some money. And I think the Mariners will trade for an impact bat. I'm leaning towards third base for that. But we'll just have to see, how everything plays out. This is maybe obvious based on my optimism, but I think the Mariners will make the playoffs this year. The Mariners, there's projections out there from Fangraphs that says they have the second best pitching in the league and the sixth best offense by WRC plus. That's a playoff team. That just is. You don't have to be happy with how they built it. They are a probable playoff team, and if everything goes right, it's playoff team. They should make these moves that everyone wants them to make and be a locked down. This is 100% happening playoff team, but they're still a playoff team, even if they're not going for it in a way that they should. But I believe that they are a playoff team. Nobody can match the pitching. I think the bullpen's going to be much improved. The leap from Julio and just an overall better offense. I just think it's for real. I think it's for real. Which is to say, how real do I think it is? This is my boldest prediction on the map. I think the Mariners will make the playoffs and they will win the American League. Am I too much of a wimp to say they'll win the World Series? Absolutely. But I don't like the American League. I said it before. I think the Mariners in the playoffs in 2024 would have won the American League. You look at the way Cleveland played. You look at some of the guys they put out there. You look at the Yankees, they had two good hitters. They were lucky to they were lucky to get to the World Series because they were never challenged. And I believe that the Mariners would challenge any team in the American League. In the National League, well, that's a different story. But in the American League, I think the Mariners in the playoffs are would be the class. I do. Moving on to row 3 here. I think that Cole Young debuts and is good this year. I think before the end of the year, he is the second baseman, and I think he's good. I think his stats translate. Maybe he's not a 300 hitter, but he hits that like 275 with good on base. When I say is good, I mean above 100 WRC plus. I mean decent defense. I really think his skill set will translate, and I think he'll be a pretty good contributor before this season is done. So, not a really bold prediction, but I do think he'll actually be good. And, yeah, and I think he'll be here for a long time. It's exciting. I love young players debuting. Here's a little bit of a bold prediction: Brian Wu or Bryce Miller is the Mariners' best starting pitcher this season. Not George Kirby, not Logan Gilbert, not Luis Castillo. Brian Wu or Bryce Miller. I'm leaning towards Miller a little bit just because he's showing some videos of a new pitch. But also, like, you look at the way Brian Wu finished last season, and he was the Mariners' best pitcher in the second half. Like, he was amazing. One of these two guys is going to make the leap, maybe both, and they're gonna leapfrog the other guys. And then all of a sudden, it's going to be like, well, maybe re-signing Logan Gilbert isn't the most important. Maybe it's re-signing one of these guys. Spoiler alert, it's probably going to be re-signing none of them. But who cares? We got control of these guys for a long time, and they're going to be very good. I really do think that one of these two will be the Mariners' best starting pitcher this season. Moving on, we got the free space. Call this what you want. Will I cry when Ichiro is elected in the Hall of Fame? Will I cry when they retire his jersey number? Yes, that's a lock. That's my free space. Will people be like really mad online at something Jerry DePoto says? Yes, that's my free space. Whatever you want to take it as, that's what it is. Okay, I had to do the math on this one real quick, but Victor Robles will be closer to 2024 than his projections. Let's go by Zips. Zips projects Robles to have a 255 batting average, 333 on base, 366 slugging with a 312 WOBA. Okay. Last season, he had a 307, 381, 433 slash line with a 357 WOBA. Okay. So, like, what's the middle there? What's the middle going to be? So basically, I think he'll have a 335 WOBA or higher. Has he done that in his career? Not really. Not really. He's never really done that in his career, except for last year. But I don't know if he'll be as great as he was last year, but I think these projections are low. I don't blame them for being low. But there was a real difference in the guy you saw at the plate last year versus the guy you've seen his entire career. And I think that carries over. And I think playing in this offense will help that. Being, betting with Julio behind you, that'll help any hitter. So, yeah. Another big positive prediction. Randy Arozarena, career high home runs 2025. I just wanted to do a Randy prediction. I think he's going to have a good season. Weird thing about Randy, he's never hit more than 23, and he only did that once, and he's had 20, around 20 as the high every other year. Last year was 20. I just think the opportunity is there for him. I don't. I think it's honestly weird that his career high is only 23. Last year he had that very, very slow start in April. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. But it's like you take the way he played over the final months, the final 5 months of the season, and you just extrapolate that. He should have been a career high home run guy. So I think he can do it. I think he can do it. I think he'll have a great season. Very high on when they got him, and I think he will continue. It will continue to be good times with Randy the Mariner. Okay, moving into the more sort of negative or less than positive uh, predictions. I have Mitch Haniger DFA before opening day. It doesn't really bring me a lot of joy to say this, but I think that Haniger just doesn't fit. I think that they would keep him around as a fifth outfielder, but they don't, with the roster design the way it is, I don't think they have room for him to be that. I think if anything, sort of Luke Raley, Dylan Moore is going to be the fifth outfielder, and then it's going to have one backup. And I think that will be Canzone because they love Canzone. They're always super high on Canzone, and Canzone bats left, which they have not that many left-handed batters. So if you want a pinch hit batter off the bench, I think they'll go with Canzone over Haniger, and that'll be it for Mitch. I don't know what he'll do. I don't know if he'll just. I don't think he'd play in Tacoma for $15 million, but you never know. Sad end, but I just don't even see him really getting the chance to prove that he's better this year. I just don't even see where that opportunity is going to come because he shouldn't play the outfield. He's probably a DH only. And for whatever reason, I think Garver is in the driver's seat for those at bats. We'll see, but he would need to have a really great spring, I think, to make the major league roster. Okay, this one is kind of weak, fairly, but Donovan Solano hits under 280. Donovan Solano has hit 280 or above the last 5 seasons. This is just a bet on T-Mobile Park. It's going to be like 275. I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I'm just saying the 280 days are over, buddy. Welcome to Seattle. It's cold. There's a marine layer. It's going to be 270. I'm sorry. Tough luck. Another sort of negative prediction. I don't even think it's that bold, but Jorge Polanco is going to be a bottom 5 defensive third baseman. When I talked earlier, I think the Mariners will trade for an impact bat before this year's over. I think this will be the spot, and I think this will be why. Because even if Polanco has a much better season with his bat, you just can't have a guy that bad at defense out there. Even when Dylan Moore is going to come in and finish games, that's just not good enough. It doesn't bring me any joy. It's just the facts. It's just who the guy is at this point of his career. Here's one I really hope doesn't come true. But I think they're one of the Mariners' key pitchers, one of the starters, or one of the key relievers, or let's just stick it to starters. A key pitcher, a key starter will have an injured list stint. Last year, the Mariners had perfect health from their starting rotation. Besides Brian Wu early in the season, missing a few starts, Like, it was just the 5 guys. It was just the 5 guys all year. And I just don't see how in this world of baseball that we live in that you could have that luck 2 years in a row. Good thing with the Mariners is they have the depth to fight against it, but I just don't see how they could possibly survive another season with with basically just 5 guys or even just 6 guys, with the handful of starts Hancock made. I'm just not sure if it's realistic to not to expect that to repeat itself. So, fingers crossed that one doesn't happen, but I think I have to predict that it does. It would be stupid not to, just based on logic and reason. Finally, my last one here is a Jerry Dipoto public extension. What does that mean? Last season was supposed to be Jerry Dipoto's final year under contract, or there was an option or something like that, and we didn't hear anything about it. We just heard he's not leaving. He's staying, and he's staying for a while, something like that. So maybe there already was an extension in place. We don't know. They won't tell us. But I think if the Mariners play how I think they will, American League West contending team, a playoff team, I think that the organization will not be shy to announce that Jerry's coming back, that Jerry's staying for X many years. I think this one's more neutral than anything because, say what you want about the team, but, Julio, Logan, Cal, George Kirby, Miller, Wu, those are all Jerry Dipoto's tenure. And that's after 20 plus years of futility. I'm glad that those guys are here. And I'm glad that there's somebody, guys like that in this organization that didn't have them for so long. But I obviously see the negatives as well. I just think that they're publicly going to say it. Whether it's the one they did last year, whether it's a new one, whatever. They're just going to say like, hey, we're a good team again. Publicly, Jerry Dipoto's our guy. Okay, let's get to the final row of predictions. This one kind of goes with the Haniger one from above, but I think there's going to be more Dominic Canzone than anyone expects. Last year they chose Canzone over Luke Raley, if you remember that. And I think Canzone is like, I don't know if he'll be just the fourth outfielder or if he'll be like almost in a DH platoon with Garver. I don't know. I just think this guy's going to get a lot of at bats this year. Some projections have him as the fifth outfielder, and that's like, a couple hundred at bats. But I think he's gonna be over 200 bats, maybe 250 at bats, maybe even more. Like, I just don't think anyone sees how much Dominic Canzone is going to be a part of this team, for better or worse. I just don't think they're giving up on him yet. He's crushed the ball at AAA. He hits the ball very hard when he does make contact. I just don't think they're ready to give up on him. And maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they should. I don't know. But I think he's going to get another chance. So, Dominic Canzone. Get used to hearing that name. My next prediction, Mariners under 2.6 million in attendance. The attendance to me is something that's funny because like nobody ever seems to discuss it, but it is kind of an important thing. Let's look here. Okay, the Mariners last season drew 2.55 million fans. 2022, 2.28. 2023, 2.69. So when they made the playoffs in 2022, they got that bump from 2.28 to 2.69, but then it went down last year because they disappointed the year before, and then I don't know why. It went down quite a bit because they were in it till the final week of the season, but it went down last year. And I think it's going to go down or stay at that level this year unless they really, really do some stuff. Because the amount of people that you see to say, like, I'm done with this team, I canceled my season tickets. And yeah, that might just be online people. But I think it's out there. I think people think this team is cheap. They're correct. And I think they're gonna try to answer with their wallets. Um, do I think it's gonna be like terrible? No, it's gonna be around 2.5. But this is something that like never comes up with this team when people talk about, the fall off and whatever. Okay. In 2001, the Mariners drew 3.5 million fans. In 2002, they drew 3.54 million fans. In 2003, 3.268. And then they've never drawn 3 million again. And then it fell off and it fell off. They've only drawn over 2 point, let's say 2.48. They've only done it 4 times in the last 18 seasons. Like, this team used to be elite. And the 2.5 is nothing to shake your head at. But they used to draw serious fans to the park, and they don't anymore. And I don't think that's the reason they're cheap, but I don't think it's not in the equation. But yeah, I think the messaging this offseason is going to cost them at the box office in that way. Hopefully they don't let that discourage them. Hopefully they just do what they got to do to make the playoffs, add money if they need to. But they dug this grave. They dug this grave for themselves. They pissed people off. And I think they'll be under 2.6 million again. And my next prediction is one that I also don't want to happen. But I said earlier the Mariners are going to trade for an impact bat. And I unfortunately think it's going to be like a 1-for-1 type of trade. They're going to trade from the Major League roster. Is it the long-awaited Luis Castillo trade? Possibly. Is it Munoz? Possibly, depending on how the rest of these guys look. But they love to hug their prospects. And teams are typically looking for major league talent. The obvious trading partner that's been there all year long is the Orioles, and neither team wants to do it, apparently. Even though the Orioles have pieces they need, and the Mariners have pieces they need, and they just don't seem to do it. The Orioles just sign more outfielders and sign more infielders when they have enough. The Reds are another team. The Reds have enough hitting, and they keep signing hitters. They have like 7 infielders. There's a match there, but these teams, they don't want to do it. And I'm not even saying the match is Castillo or one of the 5 starters. Like, why wouldn't, if you're the Reds, why wouldn't you get Emerson Hancock? I just don't quite understand it. But I think it's going to be, this might be one of the things, this might be my free spot. The Mariners trade from the Major League roster, and it's Paul Sewald all over again. It's what the heck are these guys doing? Even if it does make the team better, it's just like, why did you have to do that? Why did you have to make the team better that way? I think it's just goes to the way they think and goes to the way that they think they have to add talent. Again, another one I hope doesn't come true, but I just have a feeling that the Castillo rumors aren't dead, even if the team is good. The Castillo stuff is going to be there. No extensions. Cal Raleigh, you're not getting extended. This is partially just knowing the Mariners, and also just I think the Mariners already missed their window with Cal Raleigh, and I think that Logan and George Kirby probably saw the amount of money that free agent starters are getting, and they're like, I'm gonna wait. There's too much money. There's too much money involved to take a discount at this point for like all 3 of those guys. The only extension I could really see would be someone like Cole Young. Cole Young debuts this year, and then all of a sudden he's signed an extension. The same way like Jackson Churio did. Before he debuted, sign an extension. I could see that with like a Cole Young, but I don't know if his skill set He's not Jackson Churio. Let's just say that. So yeah, I'm not expecting any extensions this year. Finally, let's go with less than 91 wins. Another one I don't want to happen, but I think it will. Let's look at okay. The Mariners won 90 in 2022 and 2021. Before that, the last time they won 90 plus games was 2003 with 93 wins. So the Mariners have not won more than 90 games in 22 seasons. I'm not sure if this year will be the year. I think they can win the American League West. I think they can make the playoffs. I think they can win the American League if they make the playoffs. But 91 wins, I don't know. I just don't know. If anyone's going to be winning like that in the American League is going to be winning north of that. That's how tight the American League is. None of these teams are built for that. The Mariners more so. But hey, I would love to be wrong. I'd love to be wrong. Yeah, so that's my bingo. I think it's going to be a great year. We can track it throughout the year. Those are my predictions. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I'll be back soon. I'm going to be, every single week, maybe sometimes twice a week. But yeah, that's it.
Ooh, that's a bingo. Is that the way you say it? That's a bingo.
You just say bingo.
Bingo! How fun!